Yeah, bro, that NeoVim plugin macro you have that saves you about 0.04 nanoseconds on your latest project is definitely the reason that you're going to get hired. Guys, I'm sure we already know what I'm going to yap about here, and I want you to stay here and listen to me. What's going on, guys? My name is Max Syntax. Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is just about productivity. Oh my god, you are just 3 steps away from being productive. You need to install this app and all these plugins and bloat your computer with a bunch of bullshit programs that I'm really just saying here to make money because I'm being paid to say this. Does that sound like any of the YouTubers you're seeing on the internet? It would not surprise me in the least if it actually was, and that's what I'm getting at here. I think the landscape of the internet has changed greatly. I think that what was considered to be productive now is definitely not what would be considered productive back then. The actual trajectory of this is where I really start to get dubious. So essentially, I think if we went on YouTube maybe 3 years ago and we just found out some simple tips on VS Code, that would have easily progressed us in our journey on becoming a proficient and optimistic coder. That's true. But some of the things I'm seeing now are so obnoxious and they're put out there with like a superiority complex, and I'll get into this. If we make a fun trip over to youtube.com and we just look up VS Code tips and tricks, I wonder how many of these videos are going to be within a year. And if you look, I did watch one, that is true, but it has a lot of views because this was literally the general mindset about productivity. It has a lot of tips in there, and it has the old vibe, right? A lot of these are not going to be recent because in the recent years, we've seen the push for agnetic workspaces and workflows. Agnetic, agenet, I don't know, man. But it's all AI, this, AI, that. You can have the AI in your terminal, Claude Code. And it's not to say these things are not productive. Listen, they're productive, but there is sort of a break off now from what we consider to be just generic coding productivity. And I think this kind of hits a different topic because the one I'm really talking about is NeoVim, and yeah, you'll see. Now, it's not to say that the productivity is not there. People who spend a lot of time in their terminal are going to want to make it look pretty. Duh, that is a fact. There is nothing more boring and monotone than going into your project directory and seeing a bunch of BS. Like, honestly, if it wasn't for one of the guys who's obsessed with this, my workflow would not look this cool. And I can say my workflow looks cool because it is cool. I mean, is this not cool? You have all these little icons, folders, and these little shortcuts that I have in my extensions. It's wonderful, but I think we start to cross the line at some point. When I go on YouTube and I see some NeoVim macro tutorial that explains how to do something that I might use maybe once or 3 times in my lifespan, I don't know if I'm actually going to be getting any further. And we can actually find examples of this. Like, there's a video here called Vim macros make the impossible. Instead of running the macro and estimating amount of times, you can use this to count the matches for, like, bro. You can do a lot of stuff, but it's like, damn, bro, maybe instead of spending all day looking for productivity tips, how about you just started doing work? I almost think it's just kind of a way of circumnavigating your own issues. And it sounds like I'm just being a little crybaby bitch right now, but I need you to hear me out on this. I think there's nothing better to do than just work. And oh, work is boring. Yes, but you kind of do the opposite of working when all you do is just talk about other things than work and productivity, not the actual core topic in itself. But I think it's sort of a typical thing we see. I think the issue with my points, though, is that there are some people who genuinely benefit from this stuff. That is true. I have some friends who are insanely cracked, and trust me, I understand they definitely would benefit over the typical person. But I think that this is being pushed out to an insane amount of regular consumers who are really just better off using VS Code. I mean, it's almost as if these popular pieces of software are designed for the population of people, the general population. I mean, there's more niche solutions. And I think my issue is that this is being pushed out to everyone. Like, why are all the kids in my computer science class talking about some uber ergonomic workflow in NeoVim? Like, brother, you couldn't even insert something into a linked list if you tried to. Like, what do you mean you need this? So I guess my solution I'm going to propose is that people just need to calm down and put their foot on the brakes. One of the best things I've done is just sit down and work. And I think there's better alternatives to maybe what I'm saying. I think that instead of finding the most ergonomic workflow, you should actually focus on things that, hey, you might need to live, like drinking water. I think one of the best things you can do for yourself is just sit here with a glass of water and drink when you're thirsty, right? Because you don't have to get up, you have to go into the other room. And now when you go into the other room, there's a bunch of stimulus all around you and your brain might be inclined to do something else that's just not really productive, right? Or you can get some sleep, or maybe you get a better diet, or maybe you learn to type with 2 hands so that whenever you're typing, there's less room to think about the keyboard and more room for your thoughts to go out on the screen. Right? You're picking up what I'm laying down right now. I think there's just far more productive things to incorporate into your day than an obnoxious coding editor. Now, I know someone in the comments who loves these things is going to flame me, but I need you to hear me out. I am simply just not of that mindset where I want to have a multi-structured config to edit just about everything in my developing environment. I kind of just like how some things are put into this good old VS Code for me. I go into my extensions because if I'm feeling like using something, thank God someone's out there to make it for me. We have all these wonderful things, and there's probably less of a large environment with most of these hyper optimistic things out there. But that's the gist of my rant. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I know that some of you guys know about the Sylvian Franklin guy. I'm really sorry if I said that wrong. I just read it the way it came into my brain, but I kind of saw his videos and was inspired to make this. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. Take care.